Just listening to Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders fielding a barrage of questions from the White House press corps as they are all trying to get to the bottom of what seems to be a discrepancy in information. Today, FBI Director Chris Wray said that the FBI effectively laid out a different timeline in the investigation with regards to Staff Secretary Rob Porter, and it conflicted and contradicted the White House's statement all along. The White House seems to be defending its handling of Rob Porter. Huckabee Sanders saying that the White House Security Office received information last year and that the process within the Security Personnel Office was still ongoing up until Porter's resignation last week. Let's bring in national correspondent Chip Reid. Of course, they're listening to all of this and getting information. Chip, thank you for joining us. How does Sanders now explain this discrepancy between the FBI's timeline and the White House's versions of events?
Well, she actually had about the best explanation she could give of that. She has been saying all along this was an ongoing investigation. It had not been completed. Wray today said that they gave the White House their final report and closed the investigation in January. But her argument was that doesn't mean it was over because the White House still had to review the materials and decide what to do about Rob Porter. And she said that was still going on at the time when she was saying that it was not completed and ongoing. So it's an argument. Certainly, we're going to pursue it and see what the White House was still doing if they really were continuing to investigate. But she pretty much gave the best argument she could have given to try to clear up that confusion.
Right, and she again, FBI portion was closed, but the White House Personnel Security Office investigation was still open. Does the White House believe Rob Porter's situation then was mishandled? Sanders seemed to be defending the way they handled this case for the last week or so.
Yeah, they clearly have a disagreement there because John Kelly told the Wall Street Journal last night, and it was in their newspaper today, that it was all done right. Everything was done right in the Porter case. But certainly they have said in this briefing room that they all could have done better. And Sarah Sanders just said, well, they come to work. When she was asked about that discrepancy, she said they come to work every day and they strive to do better. And that's their mantra, essentially. But in fact, Kelly said they don't need to do better because they did everything right in this case. So clearly they are speaking from different places on that issue.
And with that said, Chip, we do know that the White House is standing by its Chief of Staff, John Kelly, as you're mentioning here. Despite clear questions at this point about his handling of this case, Sanders said Kelly had no idea of the allegation until last week. So what is the White House's reasoning as it stands right now for standing by Chief of Staff Kelly?
Well, I think they need him. He's really, to the degree possible, when you've got a president who's absolutely mercurial and unpredictable, he's brought at least some order to this White House, even with a president who doesn't really fancy order very much. So in a lot of ways, they need him. Now, I think we saw when this story first broke, there are a lot of people who don't want him around because for a couple of days there, the knives were really out. You had people anonymously saying that he was not being truthful to the press, and he was people saying negative things about him, which had not happened for quite some time. But that has quieted down now, which I think is a sign that, at least for the moment, his job is safe. But with this president, you just never know.
Yeah, certainly that is the case here, Chip. Chip, we also reported that White House counsel Don McGahn, also aware of the allegations against Porter and aware of these allegations for months. So do we know if he's going to face any questions in any of this?
It's hard to get to a White House counsel, they tend to stay in the background. They tend to try and usually successfully stay in the background. Certainly, we will continue asking questions about him, but so far he's managed to avoid the spotlight on this, and I'm